I don't want to be pushy. I hear this a lot. And there's a very big difference between being pushy and persistent. And what we're going to do in today's video is break down the difference between being pushy and being persistent to help people like you who may identify with these following statements. I am someone who doesn't want to be pushy. I am someone that doesn't want to be an aggressive salesperson. I am someone that wants to be different than the other people that the homeowner is experiencing who are feeling forced or pushed in an aggressive way towards a sale. And I do not want to do any of that. So instead, I win business through providing quality service because I don't want to be pushy. But there are times that I lose deals because people say, I want to get 3 estimates. The other person can do it cheaper. They want to shop around. And we end up leaving the house after giving amazing service because we don't want to be pushy, and we end up shifting into nice guy mode or nice gal mode. We bust out the business card and we're like, oh, thanks so much for having me. You know, if anything comes up, anytime, day or night, you can call me. This is my cell phone number. Pride ourselves on great service, and I'd love to earn your business. And you think to yourself, if I just deliver amazing service and I'm not pushy, then when my homeowners are comparing contractor 1, 2, and 3, they view me as the nice guy and they're like, he was great. I'm going to choose him. But then you end up getting ghosted. If that's happened to you and you want to close more deals without being pushy, then this video is for you because I'm going to break down the 3 big differences between being pushy and being persistent to help change your mindset and give you some tactics to use so you can, again, close more deals without being pushy or sleazy or anything like that. Now, let's get to it. First, quick welcome. Welcome back. Adam Bensman here, the Roof Strategist. And everything that I do here on this channel is designed to help you or your team smash your income goal and give every customer an amazing experience. In order to help do that, we need to create a way of serving our customers, again, without having them feel like they're being forced into a decision. And the reason that I did this video today is because I'm running a training for a very, very large retail company. They actually just sold recently, and their team has a really big resistance to feeling like they're being pushy. And the tactics that they've learned have not given them the empowerment to stay in that house because they don't want to come across as being pushy. And as a result, they're losing deals to competitors for a lot of common objections. So thank you, team. You know who you are for inspiring this video. And we're going to get to the bottom of this. So first, let's break down what is pushy. Pushy is selling, not providing, okay? Providing is being persistent. Selling is being pushy. Now, I mentioned a quote in a recent Instagram reel from Todd Duncan, his book called The Honest Selling System. Excuse me, Truth-Based Selling. My apologies, I'm mixing that one up. Truth-Based Selling, and he says, the key to selling is not selling, it is providing. The key to providing is knowing what to provide. So the difference here, if we think of the difference between selling and providing, thank you, Todd Duncan, by the way, for inspiring this, is that when we sell, this is what many roofing salespeople do. You get in the house, here's your word-for-word script, follow the entire thing, and cram this down the homeowner's throat, and hopefully they'll buy from you. And there's no deviation whatsoever. That's selling. Where, here's another example. Have you ever gotten to the end of an appointment? Let's say it's retail and you're doing your whole spiel and the homeowner says, thanks for coming out. We actually just need an estimate because we're putting the house on the market. And then you find out that it's like the cheapest roof that they're looking for. Or at the end of the appointment, they say, hey, thanks for coming out. You know what? We just need to get a few estimates because we know that we have to replace our roof in 5 to 7 years. So we're just planning ahead financially. And you're like, ugh. So what you ended up doing was selling the entire time and not providing. Where in my sales system, there's info below, by the way, it's called my car park formula. We assess where the customer's at by understanding where they are at in the process, whether it's storm or retail. And by the way, for my storm friends out there listening, one of the symptoms of selling and not providing is when you do your whole pitch and the homeowner says, well, thanks for coming out. We actually already had the insurance company out. We're just looking for estimates. And you just sat there and sold this whole time as opposed to providing them helpful information. So a key tip on the difference, again, pushy is selling and being persistent is providing. And it takes patience to be persistent. I'm going to repeat that. It takes patience to be persistent, where we slow down and we want to ask more questions so we can provide the right information. All right, number 2, being pushy is forcing and not asking. Example, and we're going to piggyback off of tip number 1, which is selling versus providing, is that if in a forceful or pushy sale, this is where the salesperson is trying to make a decision on the behalf of someone else or convince them to make that decision by being, I'm just going to say superficial, right? We're best product, best service. If we get this going today, you can go, what's going to stop you from buying today? Here, here, here. And that's forcing versus asking questions. So if you're at the end of an appointment and you got rejected and the homeowner says, thanks for coming out, we'll call you in a few days if we're interested, right? That forcefulness would be like, well, what's it going to take to earn your business today? That's forceful and pressure, where again, there's a time and a place for pressure when it's appropriate, but this is not that time or place, in my opinion. Now, the difference again from being forceful is to then ask questions like, hey, I understand. Share with me, how will you and your wife make a decision? What's the most important thing to you? What is it you'd like to think about so I can leave you with the right information? These are asking more questions to discover more of their needs so we can address them. So instead of at the end of the appointment, if you hear, thanks for coming out, we're going to get another estimate, thanks for coming out, your estimate was too high. Instead of forcing and trying to sell the value, which again, we're combining tips 1 and 2 is selling versus providing and forcing versus asking, we'd be saying, we're the best, we're the best, we're the best, you need to buy today, versus instead just turning to ask questions. And you can ask things again, what is it you'd like to think about so I can leave you with the right information? How will you and your wife make a decision? What's your biggest concern? What's the most important thing to you? When we ask those questions, we're going to get to the root of it, and we can keep asking questions like, what else? What else? And when we finally get them to get that homeowner to share all their information, we can address it. That is, again, providing the right information versus selling. And I do believe that if you believe that you're the best person to earn that business, and you believe that you're selling with a company who's going to stand behind it, do a great job, and take care of that customer for the long run, then it is our job to ask lots of questions, being patient, and to provide as much information to help them make that decision of choosing you. If you do believe in your heart of hearts that you're the best person to earn that business. Okay, so we've got tip number 1. Being pushy is selling. Being persistent is providing. Tip number 2, selling and being pushy, being a pushy salesperson is forcing versus being a persistent salesperson, we spend time asking. And then the third bullet is the, in my opinion, very dated philosophy of closing. Close hard, close early, close often. In my system, for example, I don't teach to ask for the business until it's appropriate, because the way I've experienced sales from coaching sales teams, training tens of thousands, and auditing sales, not only for roofing companies, but for high-ticket sales all across the world when I was a direct response copywriter and consultant, I would find that people that would try to close prematurely would not only get no's, they would get a hard no with the door closed behind them because it felt pushy. Meaning if someone's going in to teach you close early, close hard, close often, if someone still has questions, they're going to say no and feel pressure. So we need to get to a point where we know it's appropriate to ask for those next steps. If you do it prematurely, your chance of getting a no is much higher, and the chance of no feeling pressured, they get like a cat in their corner and they're done with you. So that close hard, close early, close often, and again, at the end of the appointment, just going in to close, 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 that's being pushy. Where on the side of being persistent, it's learning how to continue the sales dialogue. So that way, at the appropriate time, you can go back into close. I want to break this down. Close hard, close early, close often. That's pushy. Persistent is learning how to continue. And we're tying these 3 tips together where we're asking questions and providing helpful information by continuing the dialogue, either then, hopefully then, if not, on a follow-up visit. That's continuing. Again, that homeowner doesn't want to work with you, doesn't want to sign that deal today. We get as far as we can by asking questions and providing help and continuing the conversation. And then we focus on continuing by getting the follow-up appointment set to come back and review everything with the homeowner by making it all about them. I'll be the question punching bag. I'll answer all the questions that you might have. We'll review everything side by side. When is a good time for me to come back so we can continue the process of making a decision on the roofer for you? And again, that's continuing the sales. And by the way, continuing and progressing. That's the other key piece, is and progressing. That would be not being pushy, that's being persistent. If they reject you, just say, hey, let's stick to a phone call. But now we are continuing and progressing the sale. And this is the big mindset shift that I hope I've helped you make, is to go from selling to providing, to go from forcing to asking, and to go from closing too hard, too early, and too often to continuing and progressing the sale through persistence So at the appropriate time, we can then close the deal and walk out with that deal, but most importantly, a happy customer. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, helping you and your team smash your income goal and give every customer an amazing experience. So I'd love to hear from you. What do you believe to be the difference between being pushy and persistent? Drop a comment and share it with me. I'd love to hear. All right, that's all for this video. Thanks again for joining me. And just because our time here is about to wrap up doesn't mean your and my time has to. So if you haven't done it yet, jump inside my free training center. It's great for not only new people, but for seasoned veterans and owners, pay attention managers. If you're looking for resources to arm with your team, there's a bunch of great information there, and you're welcome to share that page to get your team inside. So again, hop right in here for the free training center, or you can hang with me here and jump right into this video. I think you're really gonna like it, and we'll see you soon.